Florida homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, Storm Smart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because Smart is complete hurricane protection, and Smart is peace of mind. Call Storm Smart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with the Generac Home Standby Generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Tuesday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. There is no broadcast tonight because as I'm looking over, the Bolts are taking on the Panthers. So I do not have to worry about hitting breaks tonight, so we can focus a little bit more on discussions, on questions, and whatnot. So how you doing? Hopefully you had a good day. Nice little breeze blowing out of the northwest. And, obviously Imelda, now a hurricane, and expected to move very, very close to Bermuda by tomorrow night. Matter of fact, I would not be the least bit surprised if we're actually looking at a landfall when the eye could actually cross over the island. I mean, remember, these eyes are usually 6-7 miles wide, so obviously it's got to be the exact spot for it to cross over. Not a particularly large storm at this point, and still really not pristine conditions to develop into what Umberto was, which was a Cat 5 hurricane, but still something that they're going to have to watch. So, I can actually look at some of the comments and not have to focus quite as much on time. So Anna Maria is watching the Yankees game, and in typical Anna Maria Yankees fashion, she is a huge Yankees fan. And I was giving her a little grief saying, I see a lot of empty seats behind home plate when the Yankees are taking on the Red Sox, which, by the way, the Yankees are up 1-0 last I saw, going into the top of the sixth, I believe, maybe bottom five. But it always makes me laugh because, look, as a Rays fan, and a lot of us know as Tampa Bay fans, we often hear the national media love to bash attendance issues. Well, clearly, it's not an issue with the Bolts. They've had a gazillion straight sellouts. It's certainly not an issue of late with the Bucks. The Rays have always had challenges with attendance, and I think that has been over and over again talked about on national media sources. I argue, and I continue to argue, that does not mean that there's not a fan base. Just because the fans don't go to the games does not mean that there are not fans out there. Their TV ratings are always top 10, top 12, so certainly in the top 50% of TV ratings. So there's an interest. It's just for whatever reason, and we can debate that until the cows go home. Is it because of the location in St. Pete? Is it because people don't want to drive? There's a lot of excuses. But at the end of the day, you try to support your team. And I think Rays fans and Rays management would love to have that place packed every night. And that just never was a thing. Even after 2008, when the Rays made it to the World Series and were this close to winning the series, even the following year, which I thought would be the turning point, I really did. Sometimes you need just one of those once-in-a-generation seasons that builds the fan base and really starts to show the fans start to turn out. Now, we've had this discussion, and again, we're going to talk weather, we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, but I believe, and this is just my opinion, and you guys know I'm a big Rays guy. I mean, my son is on the Rays Wall of Fame as one of the original inductees in the Rays Wall of Fame, as we named him after one of their original draft choices. But in my opinion, it's just my opinion, the way that you develop a fan base, you need at least one or two of those players that the fans can hold on to and always look at as the guy who is going to bring them to the stadium. And in my opinion, Evan Longoria was that guy. The Yankees had Jeter. I mean, there's all these people, all these teams that over the years have had those players that the fans love and embrace. And I would argue the Rays have never secured those players. They did sign Longo to a long-term deal, and then they traded him for nothing. Now, I get it. In a mid to small market team, the way that the Rays have won in the past is by being in the top 2% and by making the right moves to get young players and to dump big-name pitchers and to get a lot of prospects, and they've been very successful at it. But how do you define success? Do you define success from wins and losses? Some people do. Do you define success by having a full stadium every night? Some people do. Do you define success by having rings? Many people do. But in my opinion, to build a franchise from the ground up, you got to keep some of those players, and you got to keep them for the duration. You got to let them retire in that jersey. And I know a lot of people, and I'm going to be honest, myself included, I dropped my season tickets when the Rays traded Evan Longoria. And I had season tickets up until that point. Because in my opinion, that is how you actually build your fan base. You have those players that those kids look at growing up and they idolize, and those are the ones that keep them coming back. So, you know, that was my thing. But you know what? I'm not paying the bills. You know, Vince was paying the bills for a long time, and Stu was paying the bills for a long time, and now we have new ownership. And I am hoping that when a new stadium gets built, wherever it is, they will have the support and the foresight not just to build an experience that the fans will want to come to, but they will sign. And look, some of this wasn't the Rays' fault. They committed to Wander Franco in that way. And obviously that did not end well for anybody, right? Now, who's to say that Wander Franco would have stayed on the Rays forever, because Evan signed one. And by the way, Evan signed a very team-friendly contract and was underpaid in a lot of ways based on what market value would pay. And he still got traded for nothing to the Giants. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't the right baseball move. You could argue it was the right baseball move because Longo's numbers dropped dramatically afterwards. But if you are trying to build a team that the community supports and that there's that love and that interaction in baseball, I think as much as any sport, you gotta keep one of those guys or two of those guys, because sometimes it is the name on the back, not just the name on the front, that draws people to the stadium. I have no idea. Maybe because I was looking over and I saw the Bolts game on, because clearly the Bolts have done it right. Clearly the Tampa Bay Lightning have done it right. They have brought home Stanley Cups. They have kept, although, you know, you could even make the argument some of their better named players, and we all know who, are playing elsewhere now, so it's still a business. But at the end of the day, it's hard to argue with the results that the Tampa Bay Lightning have put on the ice with multiple Stanley Cups and sellouts over and over, hundreds of straight sellouts, literally hundreds. And they are the blueprint for success. Okay, so, and again, we have no breaks to hit tonight. So how awesome in terms of being able to talk about whatever we want to talk to. So let's go ahead and jump into what's happening locally right now. All right. And then we will, we will talk about what's going on. The free TV Bolts game is all fuzzy, Bruce is saying. Doesn't look fuzzy to me. I'm looking at it right here. You know what? I will bring up that. Actually, hey, that's a good point about these broadcasts, because right now on the spot is the Tampa Bay Lightning game. Here's the way this is going to work, and I kind of got clarification on this. So our broadcast, right, the broadcast that we are presenting is run for free on 66.1 on the spot. Don't have to pay a thing. Buy an antenna for $20, you got the antenna, you can watch the games. If you have cable, Spectrum has it on 17. Frontier has it on 23. It's on WOW TV in Pinellas County as well. It's on DirecTV. It is not on YouTube TV at this point. And I guess the negotiations are still on with some certain things. But for $66, you can download the Lightning app. All right? $66 for channel 66. You can download the Lightning app on, your Apple TV or Google Play or whatever app you use to stream, okay? And you can watch the entire season, the games that we telecast. So if you are not in a market that offers the broadcast signal, because we are visible on Tampa, but also carried in Orlando, carried in Pensacola, carried in Tallahassee, carried in Jacksonville, and carried in Gainesville. So those broadcasts are all available in those local markets on whatever source it is that you're watching it on. But it's also available on the app. Now, I have heard, and I'm not 100% positive about this, but I have heard that if you're traveling, you may be blacked out watching some of those telecasts on the app. So that is something you may want to check. Not sure, but that's kind of what I've heard about. All right? So, there you go. Now, Karen, I don't want to speak out of turn, but yeah, we are not on Dish. You are correct. We are on DirecTV, but we are not on Dish. So Dish and YouTube TV are kind of the two big ones that there has not been an agreement signed yet. So we'll see what happens. All right? Okay. So, and it's worth mentioning because obviously this show is typically on 66, except when there's a Bolts game. All right. So let's talk about what's happening in the tropics, short term and long term. All right. And so Terry, again, if you're too far to pick up with the antenna and you're not on cable, we are on the Lightning app. You literally go on Tampa Bay Lightning. You search the app on Apple TV or Google Play. You search Tampa Bay Lightning. It's $66 for the entire season, and you can watch all the games. That is the way that you'll be able to see it. If the antenna doesn't work and you don't have cable, that is the way you can watch all the games. All right? Okay. So, how you doing, Terry? Good to see you as well. Joan, nice to see you. We are definitely going to be talking tropics, but I did want to throw all that out there. David, I used to collect baseball cards when I was a kid, but not in a long time. You're talking fantasy football. Yeah, we got a lot of questions on here. So, yeah, I mean, we're all over the place on this, as we often are. All right, so there's a look at radar. Over on the East Coast, those are not bands. That is not a band. That is just the outer moisture plume from Imelda. As the storm pulls away, it's going to take the rain along with it. All right? So Karen lives in St. Pete. Reception of 66.1 is great. Put the antenna on the second floor. Use it as a tablet to transmit all TVs. You spent for a good antenna. So thank you, Karen, for that feedback. There's a look at temperatures right now. Upper 70s to the lower 80s. 83 in Tampa, 79 Wesley Chapel. Clearwater, St. Pete in the lower 80s. Bradenton, 82. You know, really nice day today. The dew points were still up there, but the breeze out of the north-northwest was still pretty comfortable at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Deb in Palm Harbor, how are you? Janet, Ormond Beach, good to see you as well. Yeah, Tyreek was on my fantasy team. That was not a good one. I'll tell you what, Darren Waller, we talked about Darren Waller yesterday during the show. Holy cow, 2 touchdown receptions. And with Tyreek no longer a Dolphin for this season, he had successful surgery on his knee, ligament damage. He'll be back next year. Maybe not as a Dolphin, though. Tammy in Land Lakes, how you doing? Tampa right now, 83 degrees and partly cloudy skies. Thank you, Joan. I appreciate it. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Kind words. Is there a way to watch on Roku? Yes, there is. Sheila, I believe you can also download the Tampa Bay Lightning app on Roku. But I do not think this, I don't know if the spot is on Roku. That's a good question, Sheila. I do not have that answer, but that's something I will look at. You're leaving for a cruise next Tuesday out of Miami, Ronnie. You look good. Oh, wow, Jules, you won by just over a point with Goddard on your bench. Dalton Kincaid had a good game for you. Merritt Island on the East Coast. Kirsten, did you get a little bit of rain today? Lake Wales was a nice day, Beth says. Crystal Rivers in the house with Candy. Nice to see you. St. Pete, 81 right now. And there is a look at the showers over on the East Coast. Countryside is in the house, as is Lake Placid. Jeannie, how you doing? Beth, good to see you. Skeletons are up in Gulfport, Jonathan. All right, skellies are up. The 12-foot skellies are up. Let's hope they can stay up. Renee wants to know, do I think we will get a hurricane this year? I mean, the odds are always in our favor that we will not. But do I think a storm will still form in the Caribbean and in the Gulf? Yes, I still do. I would be really surprised. I hope we don't. But I still think the setups are out there for something developing in October or even November. Tally's in the house, Doris. Sarah's putting up the decorations. And there's a look at Futurecast for tomorrow morning. My decorations are up, Cassie. I put my decorations up a week and a half ago. So you're barking up the wrong tree on that one. Margarita from Ocala is in the house. Speaking of your name, Margarita, that is one of my favorite Insta videos ever. It's a little 2-year-old or 3-year-old girl, and they're in Australia, and the mom's like, what do you want for your birthday? And she goes, a margarita. It's the funniest thing ever. I guess I can't post it because you're not allowed to share stuff. It'll probably, I don't know how that works. But go on Instagram and search margarita. And you'll see this little girl, because it is the cutest thing ever. What do you want for your birthday? A margarita. A what? A margarita. A margarita? Mm-hmm. She says. It's really funny. All right, anyway, let's go on back. Atlanta's in the house. 69 degrees in Atlanta. Sounds nice, Joseph. Skellies are up in Cleveland as well. Thank you for the update, Carl. Has there ever been a year when there hasn't been a hurricane in the Gulf? You know what, Renee, that's a valid question. I don't know. I've not really looked at that. 30 days until our Christmas lights go up. Oh, yeah, Charlotte, you are right about that. November 1, they start. Tomorrow's dew points in Polk County still in the lower 70s, Priscilla. So if you notice tomorrow, look what happens. We start to see a chance of some showers south of. And she does. She whispers it so cutely, Kelly. That's exactly right. It's my favorite video. A margarita. So there's a look at tomorrow afternoon, south of I-4 and east of I-75, a couple of scattered showers. So, I was going to tell you a funny story. So I got into it on Facebook with some guy in Polk County. It's pretty funny. You know me. Look, if someone calls me out, I will have the banter. I will have the conversation back and forth. And the guy's like, yeah, you post about nothing. I don't like you on social media because all you're doing is looking for attention by posting so much. I'm like, dude, it's my job to post about the weather and stuff. And I like the interaction. I really do. I mean, I like the debates. But when someone just says, oh, you're just, I mean, social media is what it is. It is a massive group of people with constant interactions back and forth, and I love it. And in this group, it's like family. Granted, it is kind of a deranged family at times and somewhat dysfunctional, but it's still a family. And we still have that interaction. What I love about it is a lot of folks on here are always looking out for each other. Look, I'll tell you this story, and I know some of you have heard it before, but it's one of my favorite stories. I had a meet and greet at the Cricket Thumb last year, and there was a girl, she was in her mid-20s. She showed up, and she came over to say hi, and she said, look, I don't really follow DPL very much anymore because I was here, you know, for about a year, and I didn't know anybody, and it was a source of support for me, and it was a source of made me feel wanted and happy and a really nice group of friends. And she goes, and I'm now working where I've made some friends, you know, IRL in real life, I guess you could say. But she said that 1 year I was in a really dark place, and the camaraderie and the friendship that we had amongst this group and the bickering and the arguing and the banning and everything else, it was all part of it. And I look at that as a real thing. I truly do. I mean, we've had meet and greets and we've had get-togethers and whatnot, but, you know, people say, oh, it's just a virtual thing. Not really. I mean, nowadays, so much stuff is kind of virtual anyway. I mean, where's the line, I suppose? But there's been many times, and I continue to say, I think I want to have a meet and greet and a big watch party for the Stadium Series on February 1 when the Bolts are playing over at Ray J. That would be a blast. And I have to talk to management about that because, I mean, our parking lot's literally right across the street. So anyway, my point is, you know, the people who say, well, why are you on social so much? Why do you post so much? Well, one, I enjoy it. I like talking about stuff and debating about stuff and sharing things about my family. And I'm very transparent about that, always have been. But it's kind of my job to post about what's happening out there, whether it's pop culture references, whether it's the weather, whether it's sports. I mean, I post what my passions are and what my interests are. And some people like that and some people don't. Ashley Glass used to be an anchor here at our station, and now she's a morning anchor at Channel 5 in West Palm. And she tells me the story. Her mom follows me during hurricane season, and then she unfollows me after hurricane season because she's like, I'm really not interested in the other stuff. I'm like, that's great. That's fine. You know, that's what the whole follow and unfollow stuff is. If you're interested, and there are people, as I've now got about 2 million followers on social with Insta and Twitter and TikTok and Facebook, you know, so there's clearly a few people out there interested in the conversations. But if you're not, it's okay too. Just unfollow. It's not a big deal, right? The people who make it a big deal, I do find it fascinating that people like to go on and just bash people because they just feel like it. You're like, what's the point? Why the negativity? If you don't like somebody, don't look at them. I don't know. I always find that fascinating. Anyway, and yes, don't forget the candy. So it's fun. I don't mind stirring the pot. I'm all about stirring the pot. You know this about me. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. David, I'm with you. A tailgate party at the station. Look, I can't approve such a thing, and I'm not even sure if I don't know how management would look at that, but I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't think it's any different than Thunder Alley, right? Thunder Alley is a big old meet and greet and a big watch party for the games. And since we are direct, my guess is, and I have no reason to say this other than just a gut feeling, my guess is we will have some kind of a watch party in the parking lot for that game. I think it's an ABC telecast. I may be wrong, might not be, but I know it has been in the past. So if it's an ABC telecast, we are obviously the broadcast home of the Lightning. Why would we not want to have a watch party or a tailgate? And if we do, I hope everybody comes out. I mean, that's my goal, to invite every Lightning fan out there who doesn't have a ticket to the game and wants to come out and celebrate in the festivities. I mean, that's my whole thing about our Christmas light display in my neighborhood. Because, you know, I like to go on social and on TV and invite the entire Bay Area into our Christmas light neighborhood because It's a lot of fun, and it brings joy to people. And you got a few people who don't like the traffic and who bicker about the, this and that, because that's just who they are. But overall, I mean, spreading such joy to so many people at a time in our lives when maybe we need it, or especially during the holidays, I just don't see the downside. The more the merrier. That's kind of my take on everything. The more the merrier, right? So anyway, let's get back. All right. Tomorrow, inland showers, maybe a couple of storms, and certainly some stuff south of I-4. But overall, I think we're going to have a little bit better coverage. I'll tell you, we're coming into a La Nina. You do not have to be a Lightning fan ever to come out to a meet and greet or a tailgate, Amy. It's the camaraderie more than anything. Truly is. Rob wants to know how the weather will be like Saturday in Wildwood. I do think you will be seeing a few scattered showers. I wouldn't call it widespread coverage, but I do think it is going to be something like that. So let's keep going. There's your rainfall forecast. I mean, it looks a little more ominous. Oh, Diana, Bermuda. Diane, you're actually a TV news anchor. That's interesting. So Diane is a TV news anchor at the Bermuda Broadcasting Company in Hamilton, Bermuda, which is the capital of Bermuda. Boy, I would love to actually do a Zoom with you or a Skype with you. Diane, I mean, you might be, here, I'm going to message you. Why don't you, you're probably working, so maybe you don't even have time to, and not tonight, obviously, but maybe tomorrow night we could do some kind of a hit on how, because honestly, like I said, the eye of this thing's only going to be about 6 miles wide. So hurricane force winds are probably only going to extend 20 miles out, 20, 25 miles out. But the latest track brings the center pretty close to Bermuda. So you could easily have a sustained of 75 to 85 mile an hour winds tomorrow night and into the overnight. So yeah, if you are available at some point to do a hit on Zoom, that would be pretty awesome. But you may be working. I mean, when we get a hurricane in there, we're in wall-to-wall coverage. Although I did some stuff with Australia when last year, and with England, with with the UK, and some other places. So maybe there's some places to some times where you might have a minute or two to do it. Anyway, let's go on back because people were asking about the weekend forecast. So, oh, there you are. Okay. So yeah, Diane, tell you what, I'm gonna send you a message. I'm going to send my email, and you can email and give me your schedule. Maybe we could do something, because that would actually be pretty awesome, especially if it hits tomorrow night or early Thursday morning. All right, so I just sent you a message. All right, so there we go. Yeah, I just sent you a message with my email, and we can set up a Zoom tomorrow, or a Zoom tomorrow. You'll have power tomorrow. It won't be until late tomorrow night when it's actually going to happen. All right, was Mike trying to go to the Bahamas, Laura? I've not talked to him in about a week or so. I've not heard. So there it is. Imelda, Umberto, the new numbers are about to come out right now. Let's see what they are. Let's go ahead and take them here. So as of 8 o'clock, it's still at 85 miles an hour. Again, the track, if you look at this, it's pretty much right on top of Bermuda. I mean, so here you go. I mean, this is from the Hurricane Center. Imelda is expected to bring damaging hurricane force winds to Bermuda when it passes near or over the island. Now, they're going Wednesday afternoon or evening, so they've picked up the forward speed, because originally I was looking at about 2 a.m. Imelda is likely to cause large and damaging waves in Bermuda. Heavy rain could cause flash flooding. So unfortunately, the track, we can go ahead and change sources again. The track is, pretty much right on top of the island. I mean, there it is right there. You can kind of see it. Now remember, though, If hurricane force winds only extend, 15, 20 miles out, I was taking this and just zooming in and out on this. So let's go ahead and just look at the actual satellite on it there. There's the latest numbers. And there's the track. Let's see if I can zoom in. There we go. So yeah, I mean, there it is. So that's just, that's just not. And you're on or at this point you're on the, you're on the northeast side. So yeah, that's. I mean, Bermuda is used to getting storms. They are, but doesn't make it any easier, I'll tell you. So for the boaters tomorrow, water temp, we have another minute left in streamers. I think streamers are out at 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get to that 7-day real quick for streamers. There's the beach forecast tomorrow, looking good, lower 80s, low to mid 80s. And there is the 7-day. So our rain chances go up a little bit. Tomorrow, inland and south, I think by later on this weekend of the weekend, it's going to be more central and southern counties. And yeah, Don, it could definitely wobble. But yeah, it is. I mean, they are in an area where they see hurricanes, but you're talking Cat 2, potentially Cat 3. That's a serious issue. So thoughts to everybody in Bermuda, and Diane, give me a call or email me. Maybe we can work something out. If you have power. Streamers, thanks for watching. There's your 7-day. We're going to continue on Facebook. Have a great night. Okay, so streamers are out. I think they're still out at 8 o'clock. They're typically out at 7:58, but I think when there's no TV, they're out at 8. Commercial on DPL Facebook? I don't think so. How's Orlando looking on Saturday? Well, there's that 7-day. So, I do think, let me see if we have any new numbers coming out. So for the weekend, I think I'm still going rain chances at probably about 40%. I still think the better chances will be inland and south. By the end of the week, moisture returns from frontal boundaries that lifts north over Florida. Yeah, exactly. So you've got the moisture coming in from south to north. So that'll raise our dew points, and we'll have more clouds. So the afternoon highs will be a little bit lower, just because of additional cloud cover you can see Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But overall, I think the farther south that you are, the better the chances you'll see some scattered showers. Do I think it will be widespread? I don't. I wouldn't call it widespread rain. I wouldn't call it washout. I absolutely would not change or cancel any plans. Just know that you're going to be dodging some raindrops in a few spots. So let's go ahead. Why is this doing this? This is weird. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some of the model runs. So Lori, La Nina, so it isn't just a matter of. It's a good question. So let's talk a little bit about La Nina. So all La Nina is a cooling of the Pacific waters off of South America. That's all it is, all right? And warming of those waters is El Nino, all right? So when the waters start to cool, then we notice things occur. With a La Nina in the Caribbean, typically you see a drier winter and a wetter hurricane season, potentially a stronger hurricane season. And as we're entering from neutral to a La Nina, not a particularly strong La Nina, but one never, because it goes neutral, El Nino, neutral, La Nina. Neutral, we're probably about here. We're nowhere near over here. So we're closer to La Nina, but we're certainly not in any kind of a strong La Nina. So, and the forecast is, and oh, by the way, the forecasting of El Nino and La Nina are lukewarm at best. But we are definitely on that side of neutral, which was just another reason why I really expect something to develop in October into November. And yet, at this point, nothing has. The new climatology report, Renee's asking. Good call. Rain tomorrow, Rochelle, mostly central and south. See you, Kathy. So, yeah, good call. Let's get the, I have not, Climate Prediction Center, Hurricane Outlook. I have not looked at it today. And here it is. So, yeah, okay, well, there you go. And this should not be surprising at all. All right, let's go to Mike's page. Mike, the one thing I've loved about what Mike's page has been forever and ever is everything is on here so good and so awesome to just find. And this is what he started with, doing this. And then he started doing this stuff on his own. But, man, this is just so helpful in finding graphics that otherwise that you have to Google and find and bookmark and everything. And I don't happen to have it bookmarked right this second. Where is that map? I know it's on here somewhere. Somewhere. Where is it? Where do you put it, Mike? Oh, there it is. Okay. So, why is it not calling up, though? I don't know why it's not calling up. It should be. But anyway, there it is. So, what do we see with this? All right? The red hatched area is 20%. The solid red is 40%, right? So what are we seeing the week of October 15th through the 21st? We see a classic signature for a La Nina developing Caribbean system from October 15th to the 22nd. It's at a 40% likelihood. It's between 40 and 60% likelihood. But notice where it is. Half of it's in the Pacific, half of it's in the Caribbean. So it could be either way. It could literally go either way. And when you look at the ensembles, that's exactly what they are showing. So look at the ensembles here. This is the next 15 days. You've got development here. You've got development here. This is the GFS. Some of them go this way. Some of them go this way. Some of them go this way. Some of them go that way. But the point is, they are trying to develop something. Now, look at the Euro AI. The Euro AI is developing very little. Very little. You got one little thing, and that's it. Everything else is pretty quiet. By the way, did any of you guys watch Chad Powers on Hulu yesterday, on Disney Plus, rather, yesterday? I watched the first episode. I didn't see the second one yet. So if you're not familiar, so Chad Powers is a character. It started at Penn State, actually. So Eli Manning was a quarterback for Ole Miss and went to the Giants and will probably be in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback, won several Super Bowls. Defeated the Patriots in their undefeated season. They lost in the Super Bowl. But so Eli Manning dressed up with some prosthetics and some stuff, on his face and whatnot to be this walk-on quarterback at Penn State. And he went out there and nobody knew it was Eli Manning, but there were some people, like one or two guys, like, man, dude, that looks like Eli Manning. Nah. And he was, obviously an NFL quarterback, doing great out there. And then finally at the end, he revealed himself. It was really funny. Well, Hulu, Disney Plus, made a series with Glenn Powell, right? Glenn Powell, who is playing Chad Powers. So anyway, the show came out yesterday, and I saw the first episode. I haven't seen the second episode yet, but it looks pretty funny. Anyway, that's what it was. So I don't know how I got on that one, but I was just off the top of my head saying, hey, did you see that? Because it's pretty funny. All right, so let's go back to the Euro AI. The Euro shows something different. The AI does not. The Euro does. So look at what the Euro is showing. The Euro is showing a little more development in the same area and a little bit of development in this area as well. So, and this only takes us through the 15th of October. And remember, this was from the 15th to the 21st, the following week. So, moral of the story is there's nothing going on out there right now. Here's the Euro, Thursday, Friday. Look at the moisture building in from the south, coming in from the south for the weekend. Some scattered storms and pretty decent coverage, actually, Monday. And then you got, look, a little weak, little low pressure that tries to develop the middle of next week. See it in the Bahamas? See it right there? So the Euro in about a week does try to develop a little something, something out there. But again, it's just a reminder that, yes, Milton did jump from the Pacific over. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And the model, and we sat here a year ago and we're talking about it, saying, oh, look at the models, what they're doing. Oh, that's kind of rare. It's possible, but it doesn't happen often. And sure enough, it did. But anyway, look at the Euro. If you're not knowing what I'm pointing at, look right here. So it does develop a little something in about a week. No, we'll see. Let's see what the GFS is showing. Here's the GFS. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's look for the 540 line for Sean. Oh, yeah, the GFS long range brings a real strong cold front in the middle of October. But anyway, there's a week. GFS really not showing anything like the Euro did. Nothing. But look at that cold front coming down. Yeah, let's go ahead and just play this. Make it easier to see. Start it here and play. Okay. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The GFS does continue to develop a little something in the northern Gulf this weekend. Nothing really organized, but a little something. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Pretty good cold front. And then look what it comes down way down the road. Now that is a big cold front. That'll make Sean happy. Because at the end of this stretch, like in a couple of weeks, the GFS is definitely in on a pretty strong cold front. There's your 528 line, 540 line, way down there with some snow all the way into Nebraska and Colorado. So that takes you into mid-October. And you know what? That's not unheard of. That's not. I mean, you can see that. I did see the one that Baker did, John. Yes, I did. Yeah, a little too early, Marine, for October 26th. That's almost a month away. But anyway, my point is, at this point in time, I still think there will be a hurricane in the Gulf in October. I think there's going to be a hurricane or a tropical storm in the Gulf in November. For so many reasons. But that is based on climatology, not meteorology. Climatology is kind of like reading the signs, looking at the forecast in the past, learning from what happened in the past, looking for trends, looking for analogs, and coming up with a best guess, if you will, weeks on out. There's not a lot, there's really no meteorology based at all on that. It's purely looking for trends. Meteorology is based on the short term, 7 to 14 days. Anything more than that, the accuracy is just gone. So I am one who believes in analogs, and clearly so do the AI models, because that's what a lot of them are using when trying to forecast it on a short-term basis, but trying to forecast what's happened. So I just think there's going to be development in the Caribbean and the Gulf in the next 6 weeks. I think there's probably going to be 2. Could be in the northern Gulf, could be in the western Gulf, could be anywhere. But historically, and you guys know this because we've shown you this map over and over again, historically in the month of October, when you get development here. A lot of times that's coinciding with a front coming down, and it's going to curve it into Florida. And if you look at the tracks, the most common tracks of 30 to 50 in the last 100 years, the green color, it's all Florida. So there you go. All right. So tomorrow we will see what we got going on. Maybe we'll see if Diana's available to chat from Bermuda. For us, moisture is increasing from the south starting tomorrow through the weekend. Rain chances about 30, 40, even up to 50%. It will not be widespread stuff, but you'll be dodging raindrops due to this influx of moisture from this frontal boundary. Rainy season's over. We're no longer going to get rain just because the short-term conditions from the Bay breeze or the Gulf breeze or the 95-degree temperatures or whatever. You know, that ends for us typically mid-September, certainly by late September. Now we need fronts, we need lows, we need tropical systems, we need some weather, trackable weather feature to bring us rain. All right? All right, guys. So that is about it. Thank you for stopping by. Didn't have to use the band button tonight. People were good. And we will be back tomorrow on broadcast. So we'll be back to having to keep track of that stuff. And I think I'm going to go watch. The Bolts looks like they're tied 1-1, looks like, believe. And they are facing the Panthers. So I'm going to go watch the baseball game. And then the Dodgers are taking on the Reds tonight, I believe. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30 with our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a great night. Thanks for stopping by.